Hey guys, before we get to the podcast, I wanted to remind you all and invite you to our May 1st through 4th base camp out at Camp Wow in Stewart, Oklahoma. This is a beautiful place to go to camp, and it's going to be an incredible time. And so hop on to truenorth.live to get registered and invite all your friends to come with you. And an excellent invite tool for you is the video that we just created and that we're going to show to you right now.
There's so much power in story. There's something in the great stories that's calling to us and reminding us and inviting us to remember, to come alive, to be who we are, to recover our hearts as men. That part of you that's stirring is probably the greatest treasure that you've ever been given. That is your masculine soul. When we begin to lose heart, fear, hopelessness, resignation, defeat, God will come and disrupt us in so many ways in order to gain access to the wounded places in our heart and soul so that He might heal. Our story shapes us pretty profoundly. Wounds and the trauma bring messages with it, messages about who you are and what love is like and who you can trust. The more open you are to give God permission, the more He'll come. The offer of God is the restoration of your humanity. In order to find the life that we are still looking for, we have to go back. And we have to get those lost parts of our heart back.
Welcome back to the True North podcast. My name's James McKenzie. I've got Ryan Moore with me, and we have a guest, Derek England. Derek, how are you, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man. We're excited to have you on. If you guys don't know Derek, well, first of all, go back into the True North archives because he was on the audio podcast. This might be your first time ever seeing him, but he was on the audio podcast back early on where we kind of dug into your story and all of that. But I would love to refresh people of tell us about your history with True North because you're one of the founding fathers.
I wouldn't say founding fathers as much as OG, right?
OG, that's better.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry, I was being formal, I guess.
No. So I was at the very first Life Church Wild at Heart Band of Brothers Warrior Brigade boot camp.
Beautiful,
it just flows right off the tongue.
Yeah.
Was at that, met all the guys. And part of that process when we said, hey, we've got to do this again.
Yeah.
And so in the meetings to try and formulate this and then what turned into True North Ministries. So I was part of that gang and that activity and then was lucky enough to help lead the Rock.
Yeah.
What is kind of now the Frontier, right? You know, it was there, it disappeared, now it's back. And sat on the board for a long time. And of course have brought just a bunch of guys to camp, watched God work in their lives, and of course sat in the exact same seat and let God work in my life and through my family.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, one of the proudest moments on your resume is the fact that I have yet to dunk on you in basketball. I mean, you guard me every single time.
This is true.
We play weekly, and Derek is quite the defender, and so he's one of the few men.
I don't know about that, but
that have played with me and haven't been dunked on. So, truth is, I haven't dunked in about 10 years. But
he hasn't played that much basketball.
Yeah, but that's one of the joys of my life is getting to play basketball with you
Same
each
here,
week.
Dude. Same here.
Derek is a good basketball player, and he's blocked me many times.
Well, you blocked me back, so it goes both ways.
Well, also, I'd love to hear, what are you doing now?
Okay, so now I help lead Family ID,
Yeah.
which is a ministry completely designed to help families uncover and discover who God created them to be.
Yeah.
So it's a discipleship ministry on how we do family on purpose, and it's focused on family identity and family vision.
Yeah.
So I believe it's within God's sovereignty that he put family members together in a family at this time for a purpose.
Yeah.
If we believe what he says, that he knew us before he formed us in our mother's wombs, or if we believe what his word says, that before he formed the foundation of the world, he called us,
Yep.
then it's totally possible
Yeah.
that he would put us in this family at this time, regardless of what somebody's family looks like. And I'm not talking about woundedness or pain, but like, hey, we have an identity as a family, and most families don't choose that identity on purpose.
Yeah.
They choose it by just default.
Yeah.
So we help people go from unintentional to intentional inside the home.
I love that. I love that. And we have partnered with, or we've resourced to Family ID from True North for years, since before I was ever even a part of True North. And there's been incredible fruit from that. And if you want more information about what Family ID is, once again, in our archives, we actually have full podcast conversations with Greg Gunn, and you mentioned it in your previous podcast of what more of the logistics and how to get involved with Family ID is. It's also on our resources page online. So go and check that out if you have more questions. In today's podcast, I actually was tuning in to one of the podcasts that you guys just started, which is Family on Purpose. That is the name of the podcast. Go check that out on all the platforms. You and your wife, Gina, are doing that. And it's a pretty incredible platform. It looks phenomenal. You guys are doing a great job. And there was one of them that you kind of called me out on. And
I did. I said, hey, James McKenzie, this specific moment is for you.
Yeah. No,
not really.
I listened to this podcast actually driving to our last base camp. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll kill some time by listening to Derek for a little bit. And it talked about winning at home. And for me, that's something I want to do. But some of the things that you went into were eye-opening for me. And both in like calling out, but then also in such a great resource. And so my thought was, I need to have Derek on the podcast so that he can come and we can have a conversation and share with the True North audience what they can do to win at home. And so before we do dive into that conversation, what I wanted to do for all of our audience is to kind of introduce each one of our family dynamics so that as we share stories and talk about this, we could do that. So Ryan, tell us about your family dynamic that you're in right now.
Yeah. So, married with 2 kids. We just celebrated 22 years.
Awesome.
And then we have Molly and Gabe, 16 and 14. So girl and a boy, and they're incredible. They have, we're starting to feel, because of their age now, the dynamic is Meg and I are at the house on our own a lot. And it's like,
they're off doing stuff with friends.
Yeah. Like the importance of friends has just skyrocketed in the last year. And Molly and Gabe actually have a lot of the same friend group from church. And so they're just always engaged with that. And so it's like, man, the feeling of not having much more time with them is getting very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're the official T-shirt rollers of True North Ministries as well. So
they are.
Heard you guys made them business cards and like
no,
name titles.
We have to wait till they turn 17.
Okay,
18,
all right, okay,
so,
yeah, that makes sense.
So let's keep that hush hush. But and then Derek, talk about your family.
I'll dive in. Gina and I, we've been married for 21 years. So we're right on your heels, and we have a 16-year-old daughter Sawyer, and a 15-year-old son, Jack.
Okay.
So we're very much in the same boat. Middle teenagers, one boy, one girl. We call we're a square family, right? And we homeschool our kiddos. So that creates an additional dynamic to everything. But I mean, our home, we try to be as intentional as possible. We've been on this path. We went through Family ID in 2012, understood and discovered at that time what it means to be in England. Like as in England, we're a beacon of light and a pillar of strength to a dark and crumbling world. And my kids have grown up under that with core values. And so it's neat because we are starting to see the fruit of that now as they're developing into personalities and the ability and the frontal cortexes are beginning to develop, right? And you can see them move into this, oh, this is what that meant and why we've done this for years. And they're putting the pieces together, and it's really, really neat.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, for me, my story is hard to explain a little bit. Like our dynamic is kind of wild. Jess and I have been married for 10 years in November. And so we're really excited to celebrate that. It's been an incredible marriage. And she had a daughter before we got married, Abby, who was 6 whenever we got together. And she is now 17. And then we've got Jen, who is actually 25. And she's been in our lives for about 10 years. She was actually in a youth group that my wife was in, and hard situation that she came from. Ended up moving in with us years ago, and kind of an unofficial adult adoption. Sure. She actually just changed her last name to Mackenzie.
Really?
Gosh, that was about 6 months ago.
That's cool.
And so that was a really special moment for us, and she's off doing incredible things for God. And then Abby is too. She's fully engaged in worship at our church and going. She just went to New York City for this youth movement event that was just wild for that. She's gotten to go to that. And a lot of prayers answered for her to be this engaged and passionate. We're actually like having to pull the reins back on her a little bit. And then I've got an 8-year-old son, Jameson, who is just a wild and awesome boy. And then a 5-year-old daughter, Maisie, who is very solid in her identity and confident in who she is. And she will let you know.
That is awesome.
So, we're kind of all over the place. Our dynamic, what I've said a lot of times in the past few years, and it's changed now, but we would have young kids that we'd wake up in the morning, get ready for school, get them to school, come back home, pick them up from school, like have to be on and engaged and in the floor with them until bedtime, get them all laid down, and you finally kind of crawl back to your bed at 9:00 exhausted, and then the big girls are in the bed with all of life's problems.
That's when things come alive and they want to talk, right?
And then we're up till midnight, and then we got to wake up at 6 a.m. and do it all again. So that's kind of the history. It's changing a little bit. The big girls we're not seeing them as much anymore, but so that's our dynamic of our family.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So let's talk about this idea of winning at home.
Okay.
Do you want to start? I'll let you start on the idea of what got you passionate about sharing that.
Okay.
As a
so it came out of the Family on Purpose podcast. I mean, we want to, Gina and I, as we launched that podcast at the beginning of 2025, the heart was to help people understand that they can be a family on purpose and with purpose, right? And so let's dive into topics and let's give them tools and resources on how they can win. That one was, as we were praying through topics and ideas, it was, hey, what's almost at the center of the target? And it is, if you're going to be a family on purpose, you need to win at home.
Yeah.
I had a coach out of Tulsa, his name's Chris, and he helped me understand, and he introduced it to me, that breaking the day into 3 phases. Phase 1 is your private time. That's you. That's before you see the world, before you engage with people. That's you and God. That's you in a workout. That's getting your mind right, getting your spirit right, and understanding, hey, this is what lies ahead of me, and this is how I'm going to tackle it. Just getting your mind right.
Right.
That doesn't have to be a caveat. That doesn't have to be hours upon hours.
Yeah.
Like we say that, I think that there's a 10-minute version.
Yeah.
And then there's a 45-minute version.
Yeah.
Because we don't all have 45 minutes every day to sit, read God's word and journal and pray and work out, go to the gym, come back. Like we don't have that every day.
Yeah.
But we can have a 5-minute version of that. Hey, I can get my mind right. I'm going to shut the closet, get dressed, think through my day, look at my calendar and go, okay, I'm now prepared to win the day.
Yeah.
So that's phase 1. I think winning at home also comes under this banner. I heard it at a leadership conference years ago. It is so simple. And this is why I think it works for me and why I think it would work for a bunch of dudes is leaders are prepared. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like that's the whole concept. In fact, leaders are leaders because sometimes they're the only ones that are prepared. Mm. Hey, think about a fire in a building and you're like, hey, I know the way out because somebody knows you're going to follow them. Mm-hmm. Or you go to a meeting, everybody sits around a table and they're like, hey, what do we want to talk about? You're like, I've got a list of 5 things. All right, start. You go, right? Yeah. Just leaders are, even at the basic level, leaders are prepared. And so I think winning phase 1 gets us prepared for the day. Mm-hmm. I think winning at home comes with preparation. Yeah. So phase 1 is your private time. Phase 2 is your what I call professional time. Uh-huh. I can't remember what he called it, but this is work. Yeah. For most men, this might be managing the home. For most women, this could be work for women. This could be whatever it is. If you're a student, this is school. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm. Whatever being productive is for you, this is your productive time. Mm-hmm. Phase 2. If you're winning phase 1, first, if you get out of bed on time, like you do the 5-minute version of winning. Hey, we've already got 2 wins out of the day. Yeah. And then you go into phase 2, and this is how I'm going to win my professional or productive time. Mm-hmm. And then the hardest part, and this is what the podcast really focused on, is we're not done. Mm-hmm. There's a phase 3. Yeah. And that's personal time. Mm-hmm. That's your friends and family and winning at home. Yeah. And I fall into the trap of thinking, when I get home, I'm done with the day.
I'm going
to rest. I deserve this. Yeah. I'm going to sit back. This is my time to recover. Exactly. And I'm just going to sit and it's okay. But actually, I believe that we are called to purposefully think about, no. My family needs me, regardless of what your family looks like. Mm-hmm. If you're a single parent, then your kids need you. Mm-hmm. If you are married, your spouse needs you. If you're a single parent and you don't have your kids, that doesn't mean you can take it off. Yeah. Like your family still needs you, even if you're not in the house at the same time. Yeah. If you're a blended family, your family needs you. If you're a grandparent raising grandkids or an aunt and uncle, like regardless of your situation, they need what you have and what you can offer and deliver, but you have to be intentional and understand that and really be prepared to lock that in going into phase 3. Yeah. And so that's the whole purpose of that episode of the podcast is walking people through phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Mm-hmm. And let's think about how we win phase 3. Phase 2, you know how to win. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's got some sort of KPIs at work, key performance indicators. Mm-hmm. Some you set them for yourself. Sometimes are set by the board or your boss or whoever it is. Maybe even if you're self-employed, your key performance indicator is, did I make enough money this month? Yeah. Like it's as simple as it can be, right? Yeah. But what are the key performance indicators at home to know if you're winning or losing? That's what we got to focus on.
An element to that phase 2, I actually just was angry about it a couple of months ago about phase 2 is during our prime waking hours.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And the people that we're around in phase 2 are getting the best of us. Yes. And like, I'm not mad at God about this, right? Like it's not the way God intended it necessarily. It's just like the way the world has made it is like, man, it really sucks that I'm a guy that wants to lead my family well, love them well, give them my best. And the hours that I'm with them are the times I'm most exhausted. Right. What's with that, man? And this idea, the mindset shift.
That's right.
Of like, I can, even though technically, like statistically, like, yes, like that is our best prime hours. That doesn't mean I still can't be my prime self in phase 3, just with a mindset shift.
You're absolutely right. And here's what I love about that, James, is when we think like that, hey, the truth is it's easy for me to compartmentalize 1, 2, and 3. That's simple. Mm-hmm. I can do that. Yeah. But when you start to see it individually, and when you're talking about, hey, the purpose of phase 2 is to give me the resources I need to go win phase 3. Mm-hmm. Hey, everybody in phase 3 is helping you win phase 2. Yeah. And when we have those conversations of, hey guys, Jameson and Ryan, your daughter's name?
Molly.
Hey, when you guys pray for me at work, you are helping me win phase 2 at work. Like when you hold down the fort, when you guys clean up your bedrooms, when you guys help at the house, you're helping me win phase 2, and I can go give my best out there. And it's a blend of, we have to be separate, but at the same time, understanding, hey, I'm all by myself in phase 2 and my family's by themselves in phase 2. And we only come together in phase 3. That might be true on a physical sense, but when you do what you're supposed to, that helps me win phase 2.
Yeah.
And then I'm better in phase 3 because you prayed for me. You picked up your room. You did your chores. You, whatever it is. Now let's win phase 3 together because it's a partnership.
Yeah. I love that. I love the intentionality behind that.
But it's like, it's the intentionality to just have a conversation is all it is.
Which with men, that's a monumental task.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
Right. And so what are some of the things that can help men with that to get them to think of like, oh, I should invite my family into the, and we know about wives too. Like they want to be invited into our adventure as men. Like that's one of the key elements to a marriage.
Which you can't do if you check out in phase 3.
Right.
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
If what you want to do is say you're a guy. Okay. So I used to work in the mortgage industry, and I read a statistic somewhere that women use about 20,000 words a day and guys use about 11,000 words a day.
Okay.
And in my professional role, I was on the phone about 5.5 to 6 hours a day. So when I got home, I'd used all my words. Like I'm out of words. I think I actually used that phrase with Gina, like I'm out of words.
I think Ryan has a t-shirt that says that.
Dude, for sure.
Right? And so it's easy to go, hey, I need to recharge during these hours. But if we dig deep and understand, no, what my wife needs, what Gina needs are my words. And really what she needs are my ears. And let her continue to use and process. And I can be present in that. It takes intentionality, and it learns, we have to learn to live in discomfort.
The truth is that we are exhausted.
Yes.
The lie is that we don't have anything else
That's
to give.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
We have it. It's in there. And I'm speaking to myself right now. Talk about comfort, because like that's the part that called me out in this podcast is we are choosing comfort a lot of time. I think that's men and women very easily choosing comfort instead of winning phase 3.
Right. Because comfort is choosing yourself.
Yeah.
Comfort is I deserve to take a break.
Yeah.
I find myself too, James. The truth is I'm tired. The lie is, I love the way you put that. The lie is I don't have enough.
Yeah.
But if somebody invited me to a Thunder game, I could probably muster up enough energy to still go and have a good time.
Yeah.
If a buddy of mine invited me to go do, I could probably find reserves to go make it happen.
Yeah.
There's a Yiddish statement that I heard from
our first ever True North Yiddish quote.
Ready? It's not in Yiddish. It's translated to English here. He said, when you must, you can. Yeah. And think about how true that is in our lives. When you must, you can't. I was talking to a guy the other day. He was having a hard time getting up to win phase 1, even 5 minutes early. He's like, it's tough. But yet he went on a vacation with his family for spring break, and he had to get up an hour and a half earlier to catch the flight. And guess what? He had no problem. When you must, you can. And to your point, when we come home and we have the mentality that I must win phase 3, because the years are going quick.
Quick.
Like if you counted the weekends, you would be shocked and surprised how few weekends you actually get with your kids from now on.
Yeah, it's scary to think about. As you're saying this, I'm thinking it's kind of, I can see how it would kind of be a cycle, right? So like the idea of inviting your family into phase 2 would almost help with phase 3. Because I know whenever I'm sharing more about what's happening at work or what I'm up to or who I'm seeing or meeting, then the follow-up to that, even days later, is like, hey, how did that go?
Bingo.
Right? And then we're engaged. They feel involved. But it's kind of like it's kind of like hopping on that cycle. If you
Yes.
invite them into phase 3, they feel a responsibility and that they're helping, which has got to be huge for them. And that's all like Meg wants. She wants to know what's happening, how she can help, how she can be a support. And so I think if we initiate, we do that first heavy lift of inviting them into phase 2, then the phase 3 will come easier.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it's easy, James, to your point, because that can be uncomfortable, Ryan. It can be uncomfortable because either you've never done it before or you don't want to screw it up or whatever it is. And so it's a whole lot easier to choose comfort.
Or if you ask your 17-year-old to pray for you at work, they're just going to be like,
What?
Right,
because it's brand new.
Yeah.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
I've got a story about living in discomfort. A buddy of mine, that's probably a strong term, a guy I know, he's over in Tulsa.
Hope he's not listening to this.
No, he's a great guy. I just don't. He's a great guy. I just don't know him very well. I would want to be his buddy. Yeah. His name was Brett. He was training. He runs, I think, an orthodontic or a dental practice, and he decided, I'm going to do an Ironman triathlon. And this was April of 2019. He said, I'm going to do it next year. So he said, I'm going to do it to prove to other guys that they cannot make excuses. If I can do it, they can do it. Because I've got a wife, kids, I run a business. If I can do it, they can do it. So he trained for a whole year. April 2020 came, and guess what also came in April 2020? COVID.
Yeah.
Totally shut down the race. They canceled it. And he's like, well, crap. I don't know what to do. I guess I'll just keep training. And so he trained for another year, April 2021. This was in Tulsa. He goes to the race. There's twice as many people. He lines up at the river. It's an open water swim. He's got his wetsuit on, zipped up. Gun goes off. Everybody runs out to the water, dives in. Water's freezing. It's all, I don't know if you've ever seen a triathlon, but it's all feet and elbows first in the water, right? It's like a bunch of school of fish on the top.
Yeah.
He said within the first 60 seconds, the enemy was chirping in his ear. Why are you doing this? What, dude, you don't have to do this. Just give up. Just give up. There's a boat right over there. All you have to do is raise your hand, swim to the boat, they'll pull you in and you're done.
Yeah.
2 years of training.
Wow.
And in the first 60 seconds, the enemy had his number.
Wow.
He said he had to stop it, like take a breath, shake his head, put his face in the water and say, I'm not giving up. You can't take this from me.
Yeah.
And from that point forward, he had no problem finishing the race. But he trained for 2 years, and in the first 60 seconds, the enemy had his number.
Yeah.
When we're at the dinner table and we're tired, how much easier is it for the enemy to have our number to go, this doesn't even matter. I'm just going to eat this and move on.
Especially when checking out can seem so innocent.
Exactly.
And deserved.
And justified. It was a hard day. I'm just going to check out.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm going to watch a show. I'll be out in a little while. And James, to your point, that checking out or that comfort is choosing self over service, which is a hidden aspect of pride. Comfort is pride.
Yep.
Because it's choosing yourself, and it's a counterfeit comfort. Because Jesus tells us who is the great comforter. It's the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
That's the real comfort. That's who we should be turning to for strength and support and sustenance. But we choose ourselves and a counterfeit pride or a counterfeit comfort.
Yeah. It was the moment you said that comfort was pride. I threw my phone out the window.
It said, this is dumb.
I had to turn around and go pick it up.
This is dumb. I don't want to hear that.
That's so not true. But no, it hit. And I'm like, oh, that's really good. I needed to hear that. So
well, I did too the first time I heard it. Right, that was part of my Chris in Tulsa was sharing that with me, and it's you're right. Like it's a gut punch, and it's almost heartache to go. Well, crap. When you put it like that, I don't want to choose comfort.
Yeah,
I want to choose the hard road. I want to choose what's right. I want to choose the road of integrity and strength and follow through and commitment. I want to do that.
Yeah, that's really good. Let's talk about, okay, what does it look like to win at home? What are what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Because I love what you said in your podcast, like it varies from these little things to these big things.
Yeah.
Right. And so for some people listening to this, like I can almost sense the defeat of like, I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the, I'm not imagining, my imagination's not good enough to think of cool things to do. But let's break all that down.
Perfect. Let's start absolutely at the foundational level. Sawyer plays volleyball. We went to go watch a volleyball match of hers. It was up in Omaha, Nebraska. And it was this incredible complex that had like 16 or 18 volleyball courts under one roof. I mean, you know, like it was designed for tournaments. And in between, because they had so many, in between each court was a foot or 18 inches or 24 inches. That was their walkway. And so Gina and I were sitting and watching one match, and we looked at the scoreboard, and we're like, well, they're losing. I totally thought they were winning. And so we started cheering them on, telling the other parents, look, we're losing. And we're yelling at the girls, come on, you got to get that, like moving up. Because of course we want to win. But like, and then we scored some points and the scoreboard didn't change. We said, well, that's weird. And then something else happened and we realized, hang on. Because these courts are so close, we thought that was our scoreboard and it's not. That one over there is our scoreboard and we're winning. And I think in life, so many times we are judging our own game off of somebody else's scoreboard. So the question is, at the foundational level, what is winning for your family?
Yeah.
It's not what's winning for my family.
Yeah.
It's not like I can't define your win for you. I can't define your win for you, and you can't do it for me. You have to define your win for your own family based on your family dynamics.
Yeah.
Because again, hey, if you're a single parent, winning looks totally different than if you are two parents with kids in the home, or if you're two working parents, that looks different than if you're one working parent. Like it's different for each family. Before I just start spitting ideas on what it should mean for you. We gotta filter it with God.
Yes, I was about to say foundationally, like the Holy Spirit wants to speak to you about what to do with each individual member of your family. He has something to say. Absolutely. And I've experienced that. And sometimes it's so either fleeting or just quick that you got to have the awareness and build the awareness. And that's the mindset. If you're prepared.
Bingo.
If you're prepared for it and you have the mindset of I'm looking for what to do, I promise you, he'll send you those signals. He'll send you those ideas.
God, what does Sawyer need today? It's that simple of a prayer. And maybe you hear, maybe you get an impression, maybe you don't. Okay, God, I don't know what you're saying right now, but help me to look for opportunities to win with Sawyer, my daughter, right? Hey, what does Gina need today? Okay, I got nothing. And you could do this on the drive home. You could do this, like it takes 30 seconds, right? Help me to look for opportunities to win with my wife, to make her feel seen and heard and loved and appreciated. Help me to see opportunity for that. And when I see opportunity, I'll step into it. Foundationally, it's specific to your family. You've got to walk with God and seek the Lord as to, hey, what would be winning here? And then each individual is different. You're totally right.
Luckily, my wife is not afraid of confrontation. She is very strong, and if there's something going on, she'll talk. We are going to talk about it, and we're going to get some resolution. And so I say that along the subject line of phones. It's been a battle for 10 years of like I've never thought that the phone that I had an attachment problem to it. I thought I managed it well. And through the years, like us constantly having conversations about it and her seeing that my attention's being drawn away by it, it's gotten to the point now to where I'm done with it. Like I'm not like on it at all in the evenings. Like I'm missing work calls. I'm missing connection. I'm missing people that need something from me. And the fruit of it is that my wife has my attention. And my kids have the opportunity to ask me for something. And I say that because it's been a long process of disentangling that from my evening life, and all mercy and and grace for any man or woman listening to this, that maybe that's your thing. But like, we need to point out that the phone might be the number one barrier to winning at home.
Maybe putting the phone down is the win.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just that is winning phase 3 is putting the phone down and being engaged.
Yeah.
That might just in itself be the win, which goes back to and reinforces the point. This doesn't have to be expensive. This doesn't have to be creative. This doesn't have to be something monumental and just gigantic that is so daunting that you're afraid to participate.
Yeah.
Men, you guys know this. You've seen it. You say it, I think, at camp. Hey, men run towards areas we feel strong and run away from areas that we feel weak.
Yeah.
So if we don't feel like we're winning at home, it's counterintuitive to double down.
Yeah.
Our flesh is screaming, run away.
Yeah.
Because you're losing, run away. You're going to continue. We've heard it lie after lie around a bonfire.
Right.
I don't have what it takes. I'm all alone. I'll never be good enough. Like, all the stuff is what our flesh and the enemy is screaming to us, when really it's doubling down.
Yeah.
And it might be as simple as, hey, because of the conflict with my wife and the phone, I'm just going to put it in the drawer.
Yeah.
And that's a win.
Yep. I love that. I love that so much. Ryan, what are some ways that go through Gabe, Molly, and Meg? What are some ways that you can win with them individually?
I think with Meg, the biggest thing is just inviting her into the small details.
Yeah.
So the question at the end of the day, how was your day? The typical response that I'm sure 90% of guys give, it was good. It was meh, whatever.
Yeah, it was
right?
good. Yeah.
And that's enough in my book. But really, she wants to hear, what I had for lunch, who I talked to, was I hot? Was I cold? Was I, uncomfortable? Whatever. She wants to hear the details, and just inviting her into those details mean the world to her.
Yeah.
Because she feels more involved. Right. And that's what I was saying. Like, inviting them, I can see how inviting them into phase 2 would help with this phase 3 with the follow-up questions. It's my prompting, because my natural bent is to be like, 2 words instead of 10.
Yeah.
And so, but then with Molly, she's very much a girl, and she wants my full attention. And so when she usually wants something at about 10:30 or 11, she comes alive. Yeah. And so I will already be in bed, and, I may be watching a show or reading a book or on social media. And, it's giving her my full attention and listen to whatever philosophical question she has, and tackling that problem to solve the world at 11:30 at night. And, but she's a total girl, and she will be quiet all day. Gabe does enough talking for everyone. And so, he kind of drives a lot of the conversation in our house. But, and then for Gabe, it's shared activity.
Yep.
Again, it's still full attention.
Yep.
We're very like quality time. Like, if we're talking about love languages, quality time is very high on all our list.
Yeah.
And so, it's that shoulder to shoulder activity, either working out or doing a project or
fishing,
or even, fishing, or even, even lately, is like, sometimes I'll just sit on his bed while he's doing math homework.
Yeah.
Because he likes a lot of input. And so he will typically have music going and all these things. I'm like, buddy, how do you even do that?
Jack does the same thing. He's listening to music as he's doing math.
Yeah.
And he's got a YouTube video going that he's with the audio down. I'm like, dude, what in the world, man?
It's like he's using his entire bandwidth to finish his homework.
Well, the good thing is it wears him out, right?
Yeah, no, not really. But I find, like, if I'm there for, 10, 15 minutes, I may not get anything, but it's that 20th minute that whatever's on his mind kind of comes out, and then we get to connect on a deeper level. but it takes just giving them a minute, just being around, but it's not being distracted by so many other things, either preparing for tomorrow or fussing over whatever Meg's doing or whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of carving out those times with each individual one.
You know what I heard, Ryan? You were talking about Molly. You said 10:30 or 11 o'clock most nights. Mm-hmm. She comes alive and she's talking.
Yeah.
Well, 10:30 or 11 o'clock is coming tonight.
Yeah.
And tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. And you know it's coming.
Oh, yeah.
What if you were prepared for her and she wasn't interrupting your social media? And not that she is or you have that perspective, right?
Right, yeah.
But what if you set a phone alarm in your phone for tonight at 10:15 and it says, ask Molly what's on her mind? Mm-hmm. And what if you were prepared and at 10:15, all you did is go, okay, hey, I'll pause the show. I'll stop social media. I'm going to beat her to the punch. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go in there and go, hey, I was thinking about you today. What's on your mind? Mm-hmm. Boom. How would that feel to her to feel like pursued? Yeah. To be like, wait a second, you were thinking about me and now you're coming to me and I'm not having to come in there. And she might say nothing and she might turn around and say nothing. And then 15 minutes later, come back in the room. Yeah. That doesn't matter. Yeah. Right. And this is just an idea. You don't have to do it. Unsolicited third party. Unsolicited advice. But like, if we thought like that, hey, I know 10:30 is coming. Yeah. Yeah. How do I be prepared and get prepared for that? How do I stay ready for that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because you only got so many 10:30s left.
Yeah. I know it. Yeah.
Well, and look at the time commitment of those three things that you just listed out. Mm-hmm. Number one, all those things can be done while having dinner. Right. Or like it's not like we're giving this new 3-hour task for you. Like, you're talking like 45 minutes worth of stuff for all three combined. Yep. That they have your attention, they have your story, they're invited into what you're doing, and you're engaging in what they're doing and what they're excited about. And there's there's margin outside of
that's
that.
Right.
To live to do the things that brings you restoration as well.
Yeah. Well, because of our family dynamic now, and with Molly driving and their friends and and then their involvement at church. Gabe volunteers before anybody asks at church. So like every time the doors are open, luckily we live close to the church, but like, so, we have dinners sitting down a lot less than we used to. Like tonight they have youth group. And so we won't have dinner together tonight. But so that happens often. So for Meg, sitting down and having dinner, she loves to cook and, all those things. Right. But that quality time of being able to have conversation, and with them, it's like, we have to tell them like, okay, let's put the phones up. Yep. The Skibbity Lads text is going nonstop. There's about 14 people on that.
Skibbity Lads.
The Skibbity Lads. Yeah, that's the name of the text group. But
maybe we should change our podcast name.
I know, Skibbity Lads, right? But it's like that thing is constantly going. And so it's a distraction for them and engaging as well. So, and that's a hard thing to do.
Dude,
as far as intentionality and like just managing the appetite for input. Like you talk about your boy, like, yes, he's doing homework, which is what needs to be done, but then he's got YouTube and all these other things going. And it's like, what do you do with that?
Well, you have to be intentional, right?
Mm-hmm.
The world says if left alone, things will move towards entropy, which is chaos. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be intentional about fighting it. And we have to be intentional about winning at home, because if we don't, our default mode is 4 people or 5 people or 6 people doing their own thing in the same house. And that is entropy and chaos and disorder. And so, Ryan, I can picture for you, it's like, okay, tonight, I know they're gone, and I don't want to cast over or overlook, hey, there is a time for rest and restoration. Mm-hmm. There are hard days. Yeah. And sometimes you do need time to like, hey, I used all my words. I need 5 minutes to get that bank up a little bit, or 15 minutes to get that bank up. That's not, but it's where you plug in for that restoration that matters. Yes. So I don't want to overlook that or just,
Yeah.
And I don't want to overlook, hey, win with your kids at the cost of winning with your spouse.
Right.
Or, hey, be involved with your kids until 11 o'clock and you never get you and Meg time. Like, but I can picture tonight, if leaders are prepared, and I know you're a leader, Ryan, hey, what if you looked at the evening and said, okay, I know they're going to be gone from this time to this time, and Meg and I have this. Okay, so I'm going to prepare it just like I do on a Tuesday afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, okay, hey, Meg, will you make us a great dinner? You and I can sit down and eat face to face and have maybe like a mini date.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the kids come home, even before they leave, set expectations. Hey, when you guys get home, I can't wait to hear about your day for 10 or 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do that when you walk in the door before we get distracted by everything else? Can we just take 10 minutes? I want to hear about your day and how youth group went and what happened at the church. Like, what kind of a win would that be? Even if it's a 15-minute window, and you probably do that, but
it doesn't take much.
It doesn't take much.
It's just creating a little bit of space, and then it kind of happens. But it makes a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, that would be a win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a family, in a home.
Yeah.
And families are different, and maybe families don't want to spend time together. I don't know, but like, it's intentionally understanding what would be a win for our family. How do I be prepared? Walk into that with intentionality, create the space to make it happen, follow through, even if I'm uncomfortable. And God will provide a space for rest and restoration.
Yeah. Jess and I joke often.
Did you say choke or joke? Okay.
Joke. We joke. we joke often. And maybe it's not so much a joke really, but like, a lot of people are wounded by their parents' relationship and the lack of love, or maybe even the abuse that happens within a relationship. And we're like, we might be wounding our kids because we choose each other so much over them. Like we love our time together, and we choose each other. Like, we'll lock them out of the rooms sometimes, and they're banging on the door, and we're like, sorry about you. Y'all can figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Make a bowl of cereal.
Yeah. Throw some cereal on the floor. You're good to go. Like, I left a water bowl out. There's no problem.
See little hands underneath the door.
So we've joked about that, but the importance of choosing your wife, like, it's a huge deal. There's a lot of women that pour their hearts out into their kids,
sure,
and they're not focusing on winning with their husbands.
True.
And vice versa for sure. And so just want to acknowledge that winning at home, it does begin with your spouse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many incredible ways to do that. And a lot of it, we know what we're hearing a lot within True North is these are very good men are sharing with us that they are not emotionally available at home.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know what's going on. These are men that can sit across the table from you, hear what you're going through, and give you the deepest wisdom you've ever heard. And then they're going home, and they're empty.
Yep.
Like they don't have it, and they're like, "What's going on?" And my prayer is that God is going to be revealing, like, how do we address this? And I think that just this mindset shift is such a huge element to that.
Well, I think so too. And this is a remote diagnosis for every guy that
right.
But I think when we don't have the right scoreboard, if I'm looking at the wrong scoreboard, or there's just no scoreboard, John Eldridge talks about it at camp when he's like, hey, you like to win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if it's not sports, even if it's a game of chess or a debate, we like to win a whole lot more than we like to lose.
Yep.
And if we don't know if we're winning or losing at home, I just don't even want to play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, you guys don't know this about me. I cannot stand like a pickup game of basketball when guys are double dribbling and walking and like, I'm out.
You got to follow the rules.
Like, I'm out. Like, this is, you guys have fun.
Yeah.
It drives me so crazy because then there's no opportunity. Like, well, why, if you're not doing it, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, there's no opportunity to win. We don't know where the score is. Like, I'm just out.
Yeah.
And I think for most guys, they walk into the home and there's no rules. And don't get me wrong, rules without relationship result in rebellion.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying all rules.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if there's no rules to the game and we don't know if we're going to win, I'm out. Like, I just don't even care.
Yeah.
So let's define, and that's the whole purpose of Family ID is, hey, define your family identity, who God created you to be. Let's put values to that, guardrails. What are the beliefs, behaviors, traditions, and values in your family that determine this is who we are, this is what we're about. And now if we say that, we got to live that out. Now we know if we're winning. Now we've got a target on the wall. Now we can hit it, and I can be engaged because I know if I'm winning.
Yeah. We know that there's going to be many men listening to this that they don't even have a conversational relationship with their teenager.
True.
Like, there's so much animosity and anger and hurt between them or their wives.
Yep.
Like, and they're listening to us right now like, oh, it must be nice for you guys,
Yep.
right?
Good point.
I almost like the sports analogy, like of basketball, and wanting to be kind to their hearts in this, that we know that your first step of trying to win at home is going to be way harder than a lot of ours.
That's right.
Just like if you've never played basketball, it's going to be way harder for you to learn how to win a basketball game if you've never thrown a shot up.
Very true.
At a basketball goal.
Very true.
And you can't go out to win a basketball game until you've thrown your shot. And so you can't just not go home and not shoot your shot, right?
That's right.
And like, you're going to miss your first shots. You just are, right? Your teenager might gawk at you or mock you for like trying to be intentional, right? We want our ask for men is to be intentional with this, but also guard your heart when you are intentional, because there's real opportunity. You're opening up a part of you. And when you do that, there's opportunity to be hurt.
That's true.
But you're a man. You have what it takes. You can do this. So, what's your advice whenever it's met with a hard response? Like, it's so easy to do the one shot and give up.
Yep, it is. I think it's important to identify, back to the basketball and scoreboard analogy, is I can tell you what's not on the scoreboard: their emotions or their response, right? Because if I judge my winning based on their emotions, I got no control over that.
Oh, yeah.
That has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with what I'm doing, or like, not nothing, but like if I'm a complete jerk and then they're frustrated, that makes sense. But like, hey, if the scoreboard is conversations or relationship, that's different than, did I make them happy or did I make them mad?
Yep.
Because it goes back to base camp on, if I give somebody the opportunity to validate me, what do I also give them? The opportunity to invalidate me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if their response is my scoreboard, I've already lost.
Yeah.
I've already lost.
Yeah.
It goes with conversations. It goes with step one. But if you clearly identify and walk with God, hey, what would be a win? What would be success here? Hey, a restored or reconciled relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, now we can get somewhere. Good days and bad days, I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
Hey, they're mad at me. They're happy with me. That's great. But we're going for reconciliation or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That's where you don't give up on one shot, because I don't know anybody who go to work and they look at their quarterly key performance indicators and it is feel good. Like, nobody puts that down on paper.
Yeah.
Nobody says, okay, what is my key performance indicator? My coworker was happy with me. That doesn't exist.
Hold on, this is news to me. This is what I do, actually. Like, I thought it was all about feelings.
Right? Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Because you can't control that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
And what is most men's response when they're met with that? It's either to walk away.
Yep.
Or to control.
Yep.
If you're like, no, I want to do a good thing with you, right? Like,
We are going to sit down and stare at each other for 15 minutes.
Right.
That's what we're going to do.
I love one of the things you said on your podcast was sometimes it's like, let's go run down to 7-Eleven and grab a soda.
Bingo.
What happens when they're like, no, I don't feel like it? Are you going to make them go with you? Is that the right response, Derek? Or
No.
No.
Okay, cool. Hey, I'm open for about the next hour if you change your mind or want to go.
I'd love to. I'd love to spend time with you.
That's exactly right.
And then you walk away from that. I think that's really important because I think someone might hear this and be like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. I'm a warrior. But then they're like, no, I've got to control this.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is not about controlling your family.
That's right. It goes back to what you said. Hey, if we can walk in and pray, hey, God, help me to see an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Going down to get a soda is an opportunity.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm participating. Are they participating?
Yeah.
And I can look and take advantage of an opportunity, step into it, but I can't force them to take that.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I love that Eldridge says in his closing comments at base camp, when he's given us direction on where to go from here, he talks about reconciling relationships with kids that might be out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing he said that's just always stood out as so powerful to me is even if it's not, if your outreach to them is not received,
Mm-hmm.
he says, keep going because he promises they always want and desire your love.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what the surface level is telling you, no matter what the reactions is telling you, at the end of the day, the way God created us as human beings is we want our mother and father's love.
True.
Period. That can't and we can always move towards in those moments. And so
Move forward.
Write letters.
That
Little tiny things.
It reminds me of the parable of the lost coin, right? What did the lady do? We're talking it's something so tiny and so small, but it was cherished to her. Is she tore up the entire house. And if you think about the Jewish culture at that time, she didn't have beautiful stained cement floors. And it's like, I'll look around for a second. I don't see it. I'll use a flashlight, look for a reflection. No, we're talking stone, most likely.
Yeah.
The vision that Jesus's audience had were stone floors with cracks filled with dirt and dust and straw. On the first floor of those homes were typically animals. Like part of the house was a stall or a stable. Like she pursued everything to look for that one small lost coin.
Mm-hmm.
The purpose of that parable was to teach us, keep going, redeem, reconcile, go all the way, do everything we can for relationship.
Yeah.
Look at the next parable that Jesus gave was the parable of the prodigal son.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, right, it says the father went to the end of his property every day. Like he went out looking for his son every day, waiting for him to come home.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't sitting by the fireside going, well, that son of a gun gets tired. He'll come back and knock on the door. Maybe I'll. No. He pursued him. And who is the father in this? Mm-hmm. The father represents God pursuing us.
Yeah.
Think how far God went to pursue us. He never gave up. He doesn't stop. He will not stop no matter how far gone we are, which is one of the lies that we hear at camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm too far gone.
Yep.
I'm unredeemable.
Yep.
Like, no. That's a lie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, your relationship with your kids is not unredeemable.
Yeah.
It's not unreconcilable, if that's even a word, but like go all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because God goes all the way for us.
Yeah.
He don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
We can keep going.
Yeah. And it's so worth it.
Yeah.
It's so worth it whenever you have a connected family and a connected marriage. That's so much better than any relief you get from comfort.
Bingo.
And social media and video games.
Just think about the things, the silly, stupid things that we convince ourselves will bring us comfort.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what that really feeds.
Yep.
I mean, really.
Yep.
I mean, so many men run to food minus chocolate chip cookies, right? Like it brings temporary comfort until I take my shirt off at the beach and then I'm really uncomfortable. like it's temporary comfort. It's counterfeit comfort.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm doing is I'm saying, no. This will make me feel better. I'm gonna put my heart. I'm gonna give my heart to this world and these things, and food or video games or movies or images on the computer screen or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. It's the temporary comfort, which is putting something above God.
Yep. Yep. So good. Well, do you have anything else to add to this conversation?
I would just encourage each person listening to understand that you are made to win as a winner. And so walk with God to determine, hey, what would be a win for my family? And what would be a win for each person in my family on a daily or weekly basis? And it's going to look different.
Yeah.
And don't beat yourself up if you don't get them all done on Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. Like, hey, progress is progress.
Yeah.
Like, let's take steps, incremental, move through, but it's possible to win at home when we don't check out and when we go in prepared. That's what I would say.
That's so good. Yeah.
That's really good.
I think the kindness towards your scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I hope people I hope people initiate, of course, but then once they do, I hope y'all are kind to yourselves.
That's exactly right.
As you walk down this road a little bit at a time.
Yep.
Yeah. And we can't compare. Yeah. We can't compare what someone else's life looks like.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Because if I judge my scoreboard off of yours, it could be, right, I might start judging on vacations or cars or possessions or what appears to be or what might be.
Right.
And then you're down on yourself.
Yeah.
And a great first step for all of this might be taking your family through a family ID course.
That's right.
And that'd be like taking them to the Super Bowl right off the bat and getting a big win there, right?
That's exactly right.
And so, and you said, and I think y'all said this before, you said that like once your kids are at like reading age is about the good time that they can be involved with that family ID process.
Yep. 8, 9, 10, because it is developing family core values is part of that process.
Yeah.
And so when they're old enough to understand the words on the page and you can explain, it might take a little more extra effort with younger kids, 8, 9, 10, but explaining to them what these words mean and just asking, hey, what does our family represent in these core values is that's a great time to bring them in.
Yeah. It's awesome. Well, thank you for coming in today. I think this is extremely valuable for the men in our audience and the women in our audience as well. So I love your heart. I love playing basketball with you every week.
Dude. Same here.
I love that you sacrificed a lot to get True North up and off the ground, and you led a lot of different areas throughout this ministry, and I'm thankful to be standing on the shoulders of the work that you put into it as well, along with a lot of other guys. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having us today. Thanks for bringing this out and wanting this for everybody listening. That's what we want. We want everybody to be a family on purpose.